Welcome to a new build video here. This week we will be talking about the Revenant Hunter, especially with Agger's Scepter. Now, Azzacross made a video very similar to this like a week ago almost, basically when Elemental Shards came out. I've been talking about this build since before Elemental Shards was out and how good it would be. But now that it's here, I'm a little late on the train, but I still wanted to make this video and put it out there so people that haven't seen already can look at it. So basically, Revenant, Star Eater skills, Agger Scepter, Elemental Shards, great combo. And then Explosive Wellmaker is also great because shatters count as explosions, and Well of Potency just to get your super faster. And there's a few things you could do with your super, but before I get into all the mods you need and everything to make it better, I'm just going to chill real quick for a second. 96% of you aren't subscribed, so if you could do that, that would be amazing. Also, hit the like button, leave a comment, and if you could hit the notification bell, that'd be great too. Also, I have other platforms like Twitter, where I just post jokes and shit on there. I don't even know how to describe my Twitter, honestly. I have a Twitch channel. I stream Destiny on there every Monday. Sometimes I do Minecraft on Tuesdays, and then randomly throughout the week I might do other streams. I also have a Discord server. I'm trying to get LFG going in there, some Destiny fashion going. We have community nights every once in a while. There's just other things we do. So yeah, go check that out. It should be a lot of fun. And back into this build video real quick. So due to this season's artifact mods, there's a lot of things you can do with this build. You can stop overloads. You have a free slot for your arms to have a champion mod, whether it should be unstoppable or anti-barrier, depending on what activity you're doing. Also, there's other things you could do, like you could, do some sort of boss DPS. You could do ad clear. You can just debuff bosses with Agger Scepter. There's a lot of things you can do, and it's a very versatile build, and it's very strong. Your super basically is a grenade. Orbs of Power give you more energy because of Star Eater skills. Agger Scepter spawns orbs for you and your team. But also there's Thermoclasting Blooming to spawn more, and there's just a lot of things in this, and I'm going to break down the mods real quick. Starting with our helmet, we have some important mods. Hands On right now is one of the best mods for this build because it's only one mod slot currently. And your melee gives you more melee energy, and we'll get into why that's way more important here soon. But also, Melee Wellmaker is a great option, make more wells. So, while Elemental Shards is on cooldown, you still get wells to give you super energy and ability energy faster. And I just slotted in a melee or strength mod just to boost my melee regen a little bit faster. Next up, we have our arms, which have some of the more important mods for this build. Well of Potency is what I put in my combat mod slot on my arms. But Thermoclastic Blooming is one of the most important mods for this because you get orbs from meleeing enemies, and your shurikens get like 3 thrall per throw, and you get 2 charges, so that's like 6 easy orbs right there. And if you're using Star Eater skills like I was, you get 50% more energy from those. I think it's 50%. And I also put in anti-barrier auto rifle, and you can slot in any stat mod. It really doesn't matter. Next up, we have our chest piece, and this is just kind of trace rifle reserve so that Agger Scepter can be used as long as possible. And then I have Explosive Wellmaker. I didn't know this at first, and it was pointed out to me in Azzacross's video, but Explosive Wellmaker works with Shatter, so you get Solar Wells, which do still give you super energy and some ability energy. It's not as potent as Stasis, but it does help you still, and then just a stat mod, whatever you'd like there, really. And last up, we have our legs, Star Eater scales. I made mine Stasis just so I could slot in Elemental Shards, but I was able to put in Orbs of Restoration, which give energy to, I think, your least charged ability. I also put a Trace Rifle Scavenger in there so I get more ammo from bricks, just so I can use Agger Scepter as a primary ability. And then I just threw in a stat mod. This one was recovery, but I'll break down stats a little bit later. Not completely, but I'll just tell you what you need to look out for most. And that's about it for the legs. Finally, we're going to be going on to our class armor, our cloak. On our cloak, we do also have some really important mods here too. Of course, this season we have Thermoclastic Strike, which means your solar or stasis melees can overload champions, which is great, especially paired with Resonant Siphon, because if you do stun an overload with your melee, it recharges it. So if you are playing Revenant, you can spam 3 melees in a row. But if you have 3 Revenants in your Nightfall team, you can actually just sit there and kill a champion with your melees, and it's really funny. But I also put in Font of Might for more damage, and I just threw in a 1-point mobility mod just because I felt like I could use more mobility. That's about it for our class armor, and now I'm going to get into your aspects and fragments for Stasis. So for our aspects and fragments, let's start off with Touch of Winter, the improved grenades. Didn't really care about the grenades themselves, I just wanted the 2 fragment slots. But what's really important is Grim Harvest, which allows us to collect shards from enemies that die while slowed or frozen, which is the probably best of the shard generators. Whisper of Fissures is great, more damage and more blast radius from shatters. Whisper of Bonds to get super energy faster, even though you do take a discipline hit, or intellect hit also. But Whisper Conduction, don't sleep on it. It's really good. It counteracts the intellect nerf you have, and it does bring shards to you, which can really help you in a pinch. Some people might prefer Rhyme in that slot, but I think Conduction does have a case for why it's really good and maybe better. And lastly, Durance, so that slows last longer and Dusk Fields last longer and all those things, just so that you can make more shards, and it's just really good. So those are the aspects and fragments I use for this, and I think you should too, because it is a good selection. You might replace Conduction with Rhyme, or one of the other ones with Rhyme, because the Overshield is nice, and it just depends how comfortable you feel playing. And yeah, stat wise, at least for your ability stats, strength is the most important, more important than even intellect in my opinion personally, just because your melees give you energy from hands on, they create orbs of power from Thermoclastic Blooming, and on top of that they create elemental wells and stasis shards. So they're making 2 wells, 1 orb of power, and give you extra super energy per kill. That's why strength is more important than intellect in this build, and strength does just get better, while intellect does have diminishing returns after, I think, tier 6. So if you get your intellect to tier 5 or 6, you're solid there, you don't need to worry about it anymore, and then strength is your main concern. After that, resilience would be great, especially if you're not running Rhyme. Recovery, so you can get back in there faster, but your hunter mobility is good because dodge, which can give you more melees. So with your physical stats, so your recovery, resilience, and mobility, that's kind of up to you, but if you're running Rhyme, resilience isn't as much of a concern. Same with recovery and resilience aren't as much of a concern. Mobility is great because it is artificial strength. So if you want to focus on those 3 stats instead of strength, that's also an option. But strength is probably your best stat to focus on. Also, other things you could do with this build, of course, kind of boss damage. It's more of debuffing the boss for your teammates, because if you didn't know, you can hold down reload if you have Agriceptor's Catalyst when your super's charged, and you'll have a beam that slows and freezes targets. Meaning if your team is running a boom build, so they have a focusing lens and a Well of Radiance to do more damage with weapons, Agriceptor will prep them for that, so you can do something other than super, and it'll last longer, hopefully at least. You could also just throw Silence and Squall on an enemy instead to do that, and, you know, also get to shoot one of your other guns. That's just kind of up to you. I use Ascendancy with it and the new Solar Auto. I wish I had a good Arc Decays. I don't know if it rolls well. I can't remember. But yeah, this just kind of ran what I ran for my Hunter on Devil's Lair. This is just a good build. You have Overload built in. You get your super really fast. All your ability gens are pretty fast. Aggroceptor is just a great weapon. It's a trace rifle, so it does more damage than a primary. But unlike primaries, it does require ammo, but it's not that hard to come by with double reserves and scavenger. You don't really need finder even. And just using your auto rifle every once in a while, or pulse rifle or sidearm, whatever you're using for your other champion mod. If you use it every once in a while, you're good to go. So yeah, you have boss damage, you have crowd control, you have ad clear, you have debuff. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with this build, and I really enjoy it. It makes me like Hunter a lot, and I'm a Warlock main, so yeah, try this build out. It's really fun. There's a few different ways you could build it, but the general idea is Aggroceptor Elemental Shards on Revenant. So, hope you enjoyed that, and hope you try it out too. And good luck this week in Proving Grounds, I guess.